welcome back to Great Ace Attorney. I'm Crunch, and we're going to go ahead and finish our last episode. The Adventures of the Unspeakable Story. Or The Hound of the Baskervilles? That too?
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles."
Okay. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In fact, in that disconcerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Soseki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court, which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. April 15th, 9:13 a.m., Naruhodo's legal consultancy. Oh, wow, look at that. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. So, what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning, I mean. Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Sorry, but you're not gonna get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. Ahem. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. I suppose Soseki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, won't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already, or be just a few days away. A fortnight ago, we had that very long telegram from him, do you remember? Complaining of seasickness? But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? I was just wondering, what might have become a Soseki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean as regards to Lord Van Zeeks, the Reaper? Yeah, I can't help but wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. What is it they say? That no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London? Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yeah, but at least Soseki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably, that means that the Curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps. Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean that he wields the Sword of Justice himself. To think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely, not wielding that sword again, against more equated defenses. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zeeks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter? Oh. Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before, he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spate of trials, then? Ugh, just my luck. I wonder, if luck doesn't come into it... Sorry? What was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Alright, let's go ahead and grab some breakfast. Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Bruno? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes. You noticed that, did you? Oh, God. Hurley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Oh, he looks depressed. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. A good morning to die, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before... My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn, this light existed! That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. He wants to be Sherlock Holmes so bad, yeah. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and sippet coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Nice. Oh look, it's Wagahai. Good morning, boy. Must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. How did it get there? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. Is he just suicidal now? I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case. Then my hands. This violin sung like the dawn of course. Like the dawn chorus. Its melosonant tones would make flowers bloom. It would. But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I have bowed, for days even, though the night I have endeavored, to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you. Or, don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next, they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. Ah, why is this happening to me? If they take the turn, I have for the violin for me. What is left? For pity's sake, what is left? Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Well done, Mr. Sato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Sholmes. They pale into insignificance when compared to yours. Struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great analytoscope? That's at Windibanks now. Sorry? It's at a Windy Bank? No, Windibanks. The pawnbrokery. Pawn? What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? Or it is? Doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh. Wait, what's to understand exactly? What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. The money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for me. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at a Windibanks, you see. A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain. Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled into this new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures, their mews as empty as the hearts of the muses. If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could, but pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Oh, Waggy is adorable. Yeah, he really is. Oh yeah, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you notice. You are observant, Nuruno. Look, I used this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the cat flapomat. The cat flapomat? What? Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Wacky in seconds. I thought pawnbrokers were dingy stores where you sell stolen goods or things you found in your basement. Pretty much, but I guess the pawnbrokers here in London are different. Weirdly enough. And it can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe. But now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Hehehe. Alright. Oh, what was that? Wagahai? Oh. Okay. What was that? Oh no! Wagahai's tangled up in your violin! Bruh. I think he thinks it's a toy. No! What's he doing? Oh dear, Mr. Shom's precious violin. Why should I care? What? I should be surprised if the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Bro, this man is depressed. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives. Shall I, Hurley? Out of the cat's reach if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. So this is the violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. Doesn't really look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. Till today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I've made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none. Mr. Sholmes. What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different and normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Miss Susato? Oh, Susie's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but The instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? 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 Oh. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you all right? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then. Ah, I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this viola, I mean, was at Windibank's until last week. At the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea. No, it's not. Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. It would appear Mr. Windibanks mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw, a fine state of affairs this is. Why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a what? Of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect, frosting your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windibank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to frost your egg even more obtusely? Alright, say no more. Let's go then. My eggs. Don't worry, Bruno. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Yeah, I'm a bit curious. Let's do this. Baker Street. Let's go to the window. Or actually, no. Let's go to Baker Street. Okay, no. I guess we're going straight to the pawnbrokery. Whoa. All right. So this is a British pawnbrokery? Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, you saw the sign and that spark of wonder in your eyes. Can't wait to scour the shelves, can't you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. Clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. You son of a pie biscuit. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yeah, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windibank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes? This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windibank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. Okay, I thought... What? Wait, no! I shall have to take my own life. Whoa, hey, what? Even Sholmes is like, what? I don't think that would be necessary, do you? Man, everyone's so suicidal today. Sir, put the gun down. If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry? As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did? And when I turned to controvert you, you were taking the viola and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this goat die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Phew. What do you mean, phew? You're waiting for this man to admit it was his fault? It would appear that the fight is over. You mean a hostage situation? I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windibank, sir. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Oh, well, shouldn't be, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Without that, questionably disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I need to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items? In the extreme, madam. For example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work. The novels of Sherlock Sholmes, or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? It unpublished? A story I've yet to read, you mean? Forgive me! Sir, put the gun down! God damn it! Wait! Before you die, you must tell me more! No, Susanoo, this is not the time! Sir, put the gun down! I don't like the fact he's got a fucking loaded... I hope that's not loaded. I hope that's just nothing in there. I must know more. Tell me everything. Why does she only care about the manuscript? This man is literally about to kill himself. Wow, Susanoo is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windibank. Fucking Christ, Sholmes. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Not a farthing more. But, bruh. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript. Recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon? A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do. I'm confident it will be quite safe here. Like Russian roulette. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of the otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir. Of course. Of course. The safe and sound with me, I assure you. All my life. Can you put the gun down? This is all very strange. I feel like I'm about to witness a suicide. Why is this episode filled with so much, like, threats of suicide and depression? I wonder, could I ask you something? Oh, gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! But for your splendid attire, ma'am. 5 Guinness, no less. Colors are exquisite, the design, exotic, Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Oh my, 5 Guinness, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you described. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure storage. If, in that time, they repay the original sum to me, plus their agreed interest, the items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am. That's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belonging be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windibanks, it's an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Windibank has installed here in this shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windibank? What was that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera, furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I can show you. Oh, that's cool. Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image, even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it, look, and that cute dog. And cat. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30 minutes intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur in between the times? One could only say, would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windibank? Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously place not 1, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Oh. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbroker, you know? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violet. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Winterbank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Yeah, so apparently he made modern surveillance. Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. But, bruh. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you, then, Mr. Winterbank. It's been a pleasure, as always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Naruhodo. Now we can explore at last. Alright. There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. Yeah, you were right. That leads to the storage room where Mr. Winterbank keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Winterbank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Why are you telling us this, Sholmes? Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. How do you know all this? How on earth did you know about that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. I'm the prime suspect if this pawnbroker is ever burgled. Look at this! What could this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country. Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Oh. Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of a large variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine. He has a camera put in Mr. Winterbank's bedroom. Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Ah, science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. What is this? Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you are looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Oh god. Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, you must see, at once! Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed? Like I'm trying to look at my own nose? Okay. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, isn't it? Is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well... Far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. I think we can go ahead and move out, right? No? Okay, I guess we gotta keep looking around. Brother, he's just got his gun laying there. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windibanks is if nothing. Mr. Windibank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. It's a revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Windibank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed bellying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd... blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn or colloquially pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be prepaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale, at a price of his choosing. Oh yeah, now you've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. You may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. What is that? Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah! There's a small catch just here. Look! We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh my! That's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which we'll never manage to put back to the way it was before. What are you two doing? What, us? Nothing. Nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. It appears that I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. It's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? April 15th, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. The perfect calendar for tear-away fellows such as yourself, Mr. Windibank. And who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin? Well, when the agreed storage period is passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. Something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. What? Only tuppence? Only tuppence for it? That ain't fair, and you know it. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Who's this? Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even a dad to bar up butchers at it? I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Oh, okay. Oh, it's this chick. Don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh, yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGilded's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, and across among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Yeah, she had that. She's the fucking little pickpocket. Golden Bennett, you lot. Whoa, whoa, hey, what's with the guns lately? Come on. Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. Eh? What? You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what are you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us. Nothing to eat. Coming to pop that black weasel. Sorry, coat, have ya? What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day. Unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Mr. Sholmes. So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see this article I shall negotiate with Mr. Winterpink on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business, go on. I'll make your trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiations here. Where's the thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you! Go on! Leave me alone! Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offending in the slightest. Sato-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah? Well, I am, alright? I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's a problem, is it? I'm from Brooklyn. What? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it on the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright then, I'm just gonna come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose. Sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? Not this time, alright? I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Winterpink is holding? Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Look at Mr. Winterpink watching diligently over his job. There are still so many things I'm curious about. I don't believe this is a time for browsing, Mr. Naruhodo. We should probably see whether that argument's been resolved yet, I suppose. Mr. Winterpink, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? What, you don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going. Beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us what tune is on this disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. That's it in a nutshell. Wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me. He did. He said it was, well... He? Who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. The disc's worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah. He's been in before, of course. This little tattered Demalion. I see. She brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry? What do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So, Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yeah, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. Unless she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? You tell us, Mr. Windibank. Little Scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with it? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all of this? Ah, the disc is something else. New article to pawn. Joe and I can agree a price. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say. But this heavy black coat, which you've returned to her care? As I've understood it. That's right, yes. Rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something, like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me? It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me, old man. It's me, old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yeah, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Out of my way, please. Okay, hold on. Alright. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? I'm the fucking Monopoly man. Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker? Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pickpocket has just redeemed an article from you, know? Yes. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you rascal. And needless to say, any music box discs too. I know Kung Fu. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's. Oh, I was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yeah. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Okay, I guess we'll talk to her first. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I never laid eyes on that dandy before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now. No, I swear it. I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking down the fucking street, minding my own business. And this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again? Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels for my Gucci outfit. I mean, look at me. I'm fucking fabulous. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good old gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on. Why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove, and you think I'm that dodgy one? I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. What? Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman? Of course. We need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Oh yeah, brilliant. I'm surprised we didn't even think about that, nor the pawnbroker. I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh? Yeah, why not? I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy. What? Brother. Then how are you supposed to confirm people's names? Or know if they're the right customer? Oh my goodness. But why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's... Professor. Ah, okay, so he gives them code words, and then he okay. That's actually kind of smart. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without a doubt. A watchword? Interesting. That is pretty smart. I'll give the man credit. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windibank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. Fucking Holmes. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Right, detectives have no dark secrets. None at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article. That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on February 15th. With a watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But, ow! Really? This is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt. Alright, come on. I guess we'll talk to him now. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. Oh yes, Japan. I've heard of talk of the place. What? Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first, before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikitoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. Interpretive dancing. Ah. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Egert Benedict. Benedict. Enchante. So refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Now to the matter at hand. The fuck? My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Egert Benedict, sir. Groovy. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. It's because I'm a diver and everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir. Here's the disc for you. Just this one? Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. What? What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood. You filthy animal. Oh my, yes. There's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oi, you take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it. Mr. Lestrade, why is this disc so important to her? Okay. You there, in the Black Library. Hand that disc to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. Ugh, what do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Well, I mean, it was in his pocket, so... Look at those piercing eyes. He's clearly in no mood to talk. We have to do something quickly before this mysterious gentleman leaves to fetch the police or something. What, do we just run? What? Okay, we're just gonna run. Or this is how it happened, you just run back to Sholmes' place. Okay, so I guess... Look at Mr. Windbank watching oh. Same thing. Mr. Windebank is clearly at a loss here. We have to do something about this before he reaches for that revolver of his. Oh yeah, where's that fucking camera? Or this guy. Let's just get Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? Does he enjoy a bar of caramel, I mean? So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing in the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you... Okay, what is happening? Like, we have these two guys that are, like, arguing over the ownership of the fucking music disc, and this man here is in a corner, depressed as fuck, eating a bar of caramel? Oh, so lonely. So desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you join the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, will my genius for deduction to be commodized? How much could I pawn it for? Seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. Okay, hold on. So, I'm gonna go ahead and actually have to stop right now, because I gotta go sleep really soon. So for now, we're gonna take a pause on this mystery of who owns this fucking disc, and hoping to God that the owner doesn't shoot himself, or the pawnbroker isn't gonna shoot himself with Russian roulette. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys later. Bye-bye.